Welcome back everybody to your favorite online production called Cigarillos Talk. Shout out to the young buck from Atlanta who bought me this Cigarillos, so essentially I guess that he's supporting this content production, so thank you man. What I want to talk today is about the concept of the loser's mindset and how some people just want to stay as losers their entire life and how those people bring other people down with their own ideologies. So let's begin with talking essentially about the black pill and the red pills. Usually all this lingo, all these pills is just autistic internet stuff. But I have already spent a long time in that area, so I guess that I'm going to be talking about that. When I started consuming all of this content, I started consuming very positively. For example, like philosophy and the gym content, and how everything that you do in life can affect your life very positively, and how you should strive to be a better person every single day of your life, which I'm still doing today. But very fast I stumbled upon the concept of just watching negative content, watching people who are essentially just black-pilled 100% of the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. The wrong part with that is if you subscribe to that ideology. Because the truth is, some people are losers and some people want to bring you down. It's probably not their intention directly, but subconsciously when they talk about those things and you subconsciously consume that content, you will subconsciously subscribe to their ideologies, and then you may fall into the pits of despair of becoming a loser. Now, let's first off describe who do I think is a loser. Essentially, I believe that people who are losers are just people who gave up and do not want to pursue life whatsoever, who do not want to even try giving their all in life, in the sense of like they fail at something and then they believe that their entire life is failure because of that, which I believe that it's a wrong worldview to have. Even though I have been consuming a lot of content, especially essentially black pill content, I never truly allowed to subscribe to it 100% because I see the people who promote it and I see the people who talk about it. They're essentially people who do not have anything positive to their life, and the only thing that they're talking about how their life is miserable. Even though I understand why some people live miserable lives, for example, like they did not have the genetic lottery of life, or their life position isn't very well because of their childhood or because of their life experiences, they essentially let that thing consume them, and now they're preaching that because that's the only thing that they have, which is their own thing that they're doing. But when they produce content and when they talk about that, many people who feel the same way may subscribe to that 100% and will not try to do anything positive in their life situation whatsoever. That happened to me when I started training, and when I stumbled upon the limitations of my own body. I became very depressed because the progression that I had when I started training slowed down a lot. Essentially my newbie gains just went away, and now I'm just stuck at the intermediate stage of just lifting and building my own physique. And very fast I became very black-pilled because you constantly see genetic freaks on Instagram. You constantly see people who are in very good lighting, who have a very good physique, who have won the genetic lottery, and they're posing perfectly in good lighting with very good cameras and angles. So in that sense I became very depressed. But once I stopped consuming that content, I was pretty much okay. So what is directly the problem? Getting a little philosophical here, but the content that you consume on a daily basis affects your life a lot. You may not truly think about it, and that's essentially the problem. Because when you do not see the strings that pull on your own mind, that's usually the way how you fall to propaganda. And that's usually the way how you fall to life images that are not created on your own, but are implemented in there by other people. Essentially, that's the thing that's called subversion. This whole concept of subversion, going a little bit off topic, but you can see that in TikTok. If you see the algorithm of TikTok in China, it promotes very positive values in life. Science projects, positive outcomes, beliefs that just make the collective better. But if you see the algorithm in Western countries, for example like America, it is essentially promoting stupid people, doing stupid stuff. Memes, just things that constantly distract you in life. That's one form of subversion. It's creating a weak-minded person because that person is not focusing on valuable things in life. For example, like family, money, status, fame, or physique, health. It's promoting essentially just pointless garbage, pointless slob content. Even though that's like one of the examples, you can also say that with the black pill examples. Even though I believe myself that the black pill is not the problem, the black pill is just the black pill. It's just the truths that are in this world. For example, when someone tells you that height matters or that face matters, they aren't inherently saying anything wrong. They're saying that those things matters in life and that you should just remove all of the copes in life. But the problem is, once you constantly focus on that, if I just right now say that face matters, it's okay. But if I constantly keep bringing that shit up over and over and over again, saying how, for example, I do not have a good face, or I'm not tall enough, or like I have genetic factors that are limiting myself, and if I constantly talk about that, what will my mind be possessed by? It's going to be possessed by the things that I cannot control. And if you constantly think about the things that you cannot control, you may fall into the loser's mindset. I have seen people in my own life who think that in that form of way, who think that they cannot achieve the results because going to the gym is very hard, and that they cannot achieve those results that other people are achieving. And even though I think that is stupid, because achieving things in your own life and achieving good things takes a very long time, they do not see that. Because when they go to the gym and they try something for, let's say, 1 month, and they do not see the results that they wished to achieve, I kind of understand why they feel like they're a loser. And that's usually the problem. There's this thing called positive loopholes and negative loopholes in life. For example, how your childhood went. If you experience your childhood in a very good way, in the sense of like you were constantly doing things that were positive, and then you enter that positive reinforcement loop, of course that life will be much better because your life experiences are getting better. But if you constantly tried to do some things, for example, some new things that you want to get good at, but you never really gotten good at it because every single time that you tried that, you just failed. Of course, that's the reason why you would feel like you're shit at life and you're shit at those aspects. Where am I going with this? I'm going with this in the sort of way that you should pay attention on the things of what you're consuming. Because I have fallen into that pit. Even though I have constantly watched people who are black-pilled, and I constantly watched that form of content, I became very black-pilled myself. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I possess the truth of this world. I possess all these autistic things, for example, like how face matters, how your looks matters, how your status in society matters, and all of these things that are inherently truth. I was thinking to myself, by me knowing that information, by me possessing that knowledge, and by me constantly thinking about that, is that a positive outcome in my own life? If I was constantly thinking about the things like, for example, like, if I'm not born with good genetics, should I really be focusing on the gym? Because even though I have gotten good results, I will never get good results that the people who are online portraying. And I was thinking to myself, is there really a point to consuming all this black pill content? And then I thought to that, like, no, it's worthless. Because every single time I consume this black pill content, I became black pill myself. I already said black pill is not the problem. The problem is what you're constantly bringing your mind to. If you're constantly bringing your mind towards the things that you cannot control, of course that your life will be miserable, because you will think that your life is out of your control. When I stepped away from this internet, from YouTube, and once I truly started to focus on the things that truly matter to my own life, which is my family, or gathering money, or my relationships with other people, and my physique, once I stepped away from the internet, I have seen that my life has been getting much better on a daily basis, because my mind, the things that I was focusing on, were not productive whatsoever. So I needed to take a step back from that. And the message of this video is, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to stop consuming all this pointless slob every single day, because at the end of the day, the things that you focus your mind onto will be your life. will be your worldview. If I already said that in the past videos, I do not remember in which video exactly, but I already said, if you subscribe to a bleak worldview of life, if you subscribe to a bleak philosophy, your life will turn out bleak. It's essentially that quote from Nietzsche. If you stare long enough into the darkness, pay attention, because the darkness will stare back at you. Which is the things that I want to say in this video. Please, focus on the things that truly matter in life. The thing that I truly dislike in the black pill community is when other people try to bring other people down. Because usually people who are black pilled, essentially people who are losers, not inherently black pill in itself, but just people who are losers in general, they tend to bring other people down just by their own existence. Because once you spend a long time enough with some people, you may start to relate with them. You may start to subscribe their own life ideologies, which is a very bad thing. Even though this quote is very cringy and this quote is very corny, you do not intake advice from lions. No, I already butchered it, fuck's sakes. You do not intake life advice from losers. You intake life advice from lions. So where am I going with this? What I want to say is that pay attention with who you are spending your time with. And pay attention to what content you are consuming. Because very fast, you may start to be like them. And always ask yourself, if you see a content producer or you see a person, ask yourself from the beginning, do you want to be like them? If you said no, then pay attention what they're talking about. And pay attention to what they're preaching. Because every single time when someone is talking to you, they're not talking to you directly through language. They're talking to you through the hidden messages that they're portraying, that they're keeping hidden. Even though I do not want to be this guy who is preaching, for example, like false hope. For example, like, just do this and your life will be better. No. Even though I do not want to preach about these false hopes in life, I also do not want to be the guy who is completely hopeless. Because when you are completely hopeless in life, what do you truly have? You have essentially just committed philosophical suicide. I do not know if I can say that word on YouTube, because YouTube has very weird policies. But there is some truth to that. Usually many people who commit the great end of life, they have usually committed that great end of life way before. A way long time before, in their own mind. When they started to subscribe to the ideas that life is meaningless and that there is truly nothing good to life. And usually these people do not end up like that out of their own. Maybe because of life experiences, maybe because of the content that they're consuming. But today I'm talking essentially about the content that people are consuming. So once again, pay attention to what you're consuming. Man, I do not expect that recording these long-form contents unfiltered is going to be way hard for me. I don't know with other people, when I observe other YouTubers, how they're talking and how they're presenting content, I'm kind of subconsciously judging myself to them, because when I talk about these things, I look how other people are talking, and I constantly see that it's not going very smoothly. Usually when I want to record videos, I want to enter that flow state, when I'm just constantly talking about topics and when I'm not thinking about other things in my own mind whilst I'm talking, because in that sort of way, I can just smoothly portray information to the canvas of the camera. So I guess that for the next episode, I'm gonna be reviewing other people's contents. I'm basically just going to be reacting. Even though I do not want to react for the entirety of this video, of these videos, I'm gonna be, for example, putting a 1-minute clip, or let's say a 30-second clip, and then I'm gonna be responding and reacting to that, because just talking to myself out of the blue, it's kind of difficult, I gotta agree. So yeah, if you have stayed to the end of this video, thank you for watching. I do not know how this video will perform, so I guess see you in the next one. Peace.